Hey everybody, Timmy Flyers got here. And this morning before I got up, I was doing some reminiscing about the good old days, about the 90s, about my childhood, my teen years, and a couple of years after my teen years as well. So I've been reminiscing a lot, and I realize everything has changed since then. I remember being a kid back in the 90s, and I remember when I used to watch a lot of TV back in the day. I'd watch a lot of my favorite cartoon channels, and two of my favorite channels that I watched when I was a kid were Nickelodeon and the Cartoon Network. I also watched wrestling when I was a kid as well. A lot of things have changed since then. There was a time when shows on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, they were a staple of my childhood. And the reason why I do so many nostalgia videos, so many back in the day videos, where I focus on a lot of old commercials from the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s, is because I like to relive that. And when I see something like that on YouTube, it really takes me back to my childhood. And a lot of things are changing. My local deli has been sold to somebody else, and it's gonna have a different name soon. I've also noticed that a lot of commercials, there's no effort in the commercials they do. And it's just, I miss the way things used to be. And I was reminiscing about the good old days. Reminiscing about being a kid, watching Mighty Morphin, Rangers on Fox Kids, watching Cartoon Network, playing Sega Genesis, and playing Super Nintendo at my cousin's house. You know, I miss that, I really do. And one thing I also miss was my teen years as well. I think back to when I went to school at Widener. And I was at Widener since 1997 to 2005. And I think back about all the good times I had during my teen years. I think about my high school prom. I think about my sophomore prom and my senior prom. I also think about how my neighborhood used to be, and all the stuff I used to do around my neighborhood when I used to hang around with all my friends. You know, it does change. But I also look back at the years after my teen years. The year 2000, around 2008 to all the way up to like 2012. I still remember my 26th birthday. I also remember a lot of different things as well. I also remember times I used to go around the Times, back around 2005. I used to hang out with everybody there, all the way up to 2007, 2008, and into 2010. 2010 was a good year, too. And I think back about that year, too. About how the Flyers had that epic playoff run. You know, if I could time travel, I wish I could go back to these times in my life, you know. Times when, you know, life felt authentic. The time when stuff felt authentic. Now, I'm not coming on here bad-mouthing this generation. bad mouthing each other, man. I'm not coming on here bad mouthing this timeline of my life. I'm just here reminiscing about the good old days of my life. I think back to when I was about 8 years old, and how I was a huge Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan. First time I watched that, I remember. It was 1994, and it was on Fox Kids. And the first time I saw Power Rangers, I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I also reminisce about the times I could walk, and the times I would walk around my neighborhood and hang out with my friends. I'll always remember that. And this is why I do YouTube. I like to do YouTube because I like to get a nostalgic sense in my life. I like to look back at the good times in my life. And a lot of people think I'm very strange because I watch all the commercials. The reason I do that is it makes me think back to a simpler time. To a time in my life when things weren't so complicated. Before this whole pandemic started. I just missed that before I ended up with a tracheostomy. If I could go back in time and talk to my past self, I would tell him this. You gotta be careful. In the year 2020, there's gonna be a pandemic. Everything's gonna change. I would also tell him to take better care of himself and not end up having a tracheostomy. I would also tell my past self. I would also tell my past self to not be so damn sensitive. You know? I miss how things used to be. I really do. Things used to be so much better back then. And I'm not bad mouthing the stereotypes here. It was just that things were actually really pretty damn good back in the day. I also noticed that wrestling has changed drastically as well. I remember being a kid watching WCW Monday Night Show every Monday night. I remember the whole NWO angle. I never forget how hooked I was on WCW wrestling at the time. WCW was at its peak in 1995. And it got even better in 1996. 1999, not so much. 2000 sucked. And I noticed wrestling has changed. Now, if you want to watch Monday Night Raw, you have to have a Netflix account. And if you want to get premium live events, or I don't get why they call it premium live events. I think that's the dumbest name ever. Just call it a pay-per-view. Why does it have to be a premium live event? And one more thing I do not like. The fact that WWE has now taken their pay-per-views off of people. And now are focusing on the new ESPN app. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. See, times have changed lately. And that's why times were better back then. Just going outside and hanging out with friends, that was a big event back in the day. I remember being a kid, wearing my Nike light-up shoes, walking around the neighborhood, just hanging out with everybody, hanging out with my friends, having a good time. And at the times, around 2003, all the way up to In the 2000s, when I used to go outside and spend the whole night outside hanging out with my friends. You see, times change. Sometimes we wish that we can go back, but we can't. Time travel has not been invented yet. But if it could, if it would be, would people take vacations back to time periods? Would people take vacations back to their childhoods? Or back to their teen years? If we could, that would be one of the greatest inventions ever. Just to go back in time and explore our past. I wish we could do that. Wish there was a way we could. Maybe one day, somebody will invent a time machine. But we can all go back in time and relive the glory days. The good old days of our lives. I'd like to go back in time when my dad was still here. That'd be great. Just to have my dad here again. I wish I could experience that. Go back in time and visiting my dad. And also my grandma. I miss her as well. I'd love to go back in time and visit the time when my grandma was still alive. And also my Aunt Michelle as well. See? I reminisced about my teen years. About my many crushes, my many heartbreaks, and my many triumphs in life. I think back to those times. 2010 has to be one of my favorites. My all-time favorite times was the 1990s. When I was just a kid, watching Power Rangers. You know, to the people who are in a hurry to grow up, here's my message to you. Live life while you can. Live your childhood while you can. Have fun. Explore the world. Hang out with your friends. Because childhood is one of the most important things you have in your life. Because it gives you memories. It gives you a way to reminisce about the good old days. I'm Teddy Forrest guy. This is really all I have to say, really, but things were, so much better back in the day. And I know a lot of people may agree or disagree with me, but this is just my opinion, and this is just how I feel about the whole situation. But to tell you the truth, even though I reminisce about the past, I am so grateful for the memories I had in the 1990s, the memories I had in my teen years, and the memories I had when I was in high school, and the memories I had when I was at Ron Hurst Middle School from 1992 all the way till 1996. It's good to keep these memories in your heart because one day we may get old, and one day we may forget. So it's good to hang on to these memories and hang on to the nostalgic times in your life as long as you can.